fucks left. No, no. I have no fucks, right? Oh, oh. I have no fucks left. No, no. So fuck off. I'm busy. Bye-bye. Piss off. Not sorry. Don't cry.
And in this country, it is not only permissible to question our leaders, it's our responsibility. People want leadership, Mr. President. In the absence of genuine leadership, they'll listen to anyone who steps up to the microphone. They're so thirsty for it, they'll crawl through the desert toward a mirage, and when they discover there's no water, they'll drink the sand.
People don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference.
I have no fucks left. No, no. I have no fucks, right? Oh, oh. I have no fucks left. No, no.
Greetings, salutations, hello, hello, hello. Welcome one and all to another new episode of No Fucks Left with Landyn Shaw. And that person right there speaking, that's Landyn Shaw. So that would be me. And I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. How's everyone doing out there? Are we surviving? Just barely. If you're anything like me, you're really finding it hard to make your way through each and every wonderful day that we are currently living in. It's so lovely to be alive, eh? But it is lovely to be alive. It certainly beats the alternative. So let's get on with the show, right? Let's be able to just escape, take a little break, have some fun, some laughs. Wait, speaking of fun and laughs, it's the word of the day.
What's the word? What will Landyn say? Say
Yep.
the word, we will all yell and scream. Listen
And because I'm in a somewhat hopeful and trying to be oh so positive mood, our word of the day today is a great word. Oh, it's a word I love, and it's a word I definitely hang on to, and that's hope. H-O-P to the E, hope. It's a great word, and one we all definitely need right now. Hope. How's that hopey changey thing working out for you? Well, it was working out pretty good. And I'm finding it a lot more difficult to find it, but we're going to keep trying. And one way we can do that is by screaming, yelling, singing, dancing, having some fun every time you hear the word hope during the podcast. So join your fellow NFL pod members and community and, celebrate every time you hear this lovely word, hope. H-O-P-E. The word of the day is hope.
ads. Let's do some ads. That's rad. That's rad. Let's do some ads. Ads. Let's do some ads. That's rad. That's rad. Let's do some ads.
If you've listened to the show, you know that I really haven't done a lot of ads yet. I would love to. And if you're a small business or even a large business and you want to advertise on my show, let's talk. But until then, I've been thinking that, wait a minute, I could do an ad. I can do an ad for myself. Meaning, I teach private voice and acting lessons. I have had students appear on Broadway. I've had students appear in many national tours, students of all ages. I've seen a lot of success with my students. I love teaching, and it's one of the things that I feel I am really good at. I specialize in breathing, and I specialize in really working from the inside out, meaning I really break down the technique. I make it very simple. I demystify it for you, and I work from a whole body approach. And I am happy to show you my references and give you referrals, and I promise you will be in great hands. And the good thing is audition season is right around the corner for colleges and summer stock theater and year-round theater. And so what better time? Reach out to me. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. Soon I'm going to have a TikTok. And let's set up. We can start a consultation or we can go right to lessons. So private voice and acting lessons with me, Landyn Shaw, and I promise you, you'll be in great hands. And I will help you in so many ways that you can't even begin to understand. So reach out to me today. It's never too late to try to reach for your dreams, and I'll help you every step of the way.
Who's the greatest baseball team around? Who is the team that gets all the others down? It's easy and forgive me if I boast as I say, it's the Cubs, Cubbies all the way. Welcome to Cubs Corner.
So the one thing that I am definitely looking forward to as far as the distraction and something to kind of occupy my time and my space is baseball. My Chicago Cubs. We are 1 week away from our first spring training game, and I could not be more excited. So, this week on Cubs Corner, I want to talk about the fact that so far in every magazine I've been reading, and every article and every site about baseball and all the pundits and all the talk, the consistent feeling is my Cubbies, your Cubbies, the Chicago Cubs, the 2016 World Series champions, are going to lead the division. They're going to crush. They're going to be the team to beat, and they're strong. And I believe it. I do. I like the way the team is shaping up. I like how everything looks. I already like the things that are being said from camp. I'm very excited. It's a very good time to be a Cubs fan once again, and it's about time. And I read an article today about how this writer was not upset at all that we didn't get Bregman, and I agree. I was very nervous about that prospect. You have someone, again, who's older, wants a lot of money, and you just don't know at that age. I think he's like 30, 31, where that's going to be. That third base position, as we know, very physical, and a lot can happen there. I mean, look at Rondon. I mean, the dude has barely played 50, 60 games a season on a big-ass $250 million contract, and he's out this entire season for hip surgery and probably even more. That would just be horrible as a Cubs fan, and I'm sure as ownership and a GM, if you got yourselves in that situation. And I'm not saying that's going to be what Bregman is, but it has to be in the back of your mind. So I love the team. I love our chances. I love the buzz. I think the team really kind of moved up a level last year. It was great to see Counsell as our manager first season. And so, yeah, it's really exciting. So I cannot wait for it to start. Just 7 glorious days until spring training. And then luckily for Cubs and Dodgers fans, our regular season starts mid-March or third week in March with that series over in Japan. And I am elated. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so exciting. So thank goodness baseball's right around the corner. My Cubbies are right around the corner. I am hoping that most of my future monologues will involve the Cubs and the excitement of what's happening. Because again, I think we all could use that distraction, but I in particular need my marquee television and my Boog Shambi and JD and Taylor, and I need to be able to escape for 2.5, 3 hours. And at this point, win, lose, draw, I don't care. Just give me baseball and give me the distraction. But 1 week, and I can't wait. So go, Cubs, go. So rather than do this week a prepared monologue, I wanted to, well, let's be honest, I was going to do a prepared monologue, but then I had a great conversation with my lovely 21-year-old stepdaughter tonight, She came over for dinner, which is always a treat. Her mom, the professor, my wife, and I love it when she comes over and hangs. It's always a lot of fun. And every once in a while, I like to kind of just check in with her. Since she is 21, I just want to see kind of what's happening in her world with her generation. Are they worrying about the same things I am? Are they getting the same news? Are they getting the same updates, etc.? And so tonight, I simply just said, hey, what's happening in your generation world? What's happening on the social media? What's the vibe? And she told me very quickly and without even having to think about it that there's a lot of concern, that her entire generation is very aware of what's happening. They're voicing their concerns. And then this next part really got to me. She said, and we're all ready to fight. And we're prepared for something because we can feel something's happening. We can feel that there's a shift. We can feel that it's just there and it's brimming and it's going to get there and boil over. And she said that they're basically prepared for a civil war. And that really hit me. It really, really hit me. And it's interesting because just like a week or two before, my wife and I were having kind of the same conversation just about our world in general. And it led to me being in tears because she too kind of rang this ominous tone and was very matter of fact and direct, which I totally appreciate and I need because, again, I can be very idealistic and sometimes rainbows and hearts and sunshine. And yeah, so every once in a while, I need a dose of reality. And I love that I can get that from my wife and my daughter. So she kind of, put it out there, gave me the tough love and the direct talk, and I didn't necessarily want to believe it. And I ended up being a bit hysterical. And then tonight, again, I just wanted to change things so badly for my daughter because she's 21 years old and she's sitting here with her generation thinking about that there could be a civil war and that her government has let her down and everyone down. And that basically the only way to fix it is to tear it all down. In not so many words, that's basically what they were trying to get across to me tonight. And that just really hit me. And I guess it hit me because part of me feels like they're right to a certain extent. And then there's another part of me that just doesn't want to believe that that's the answer here. I mean, what the fuck happened? Truly. Like, to everyone that supports this administration and what they're doing, what do you have to say about the price of eggs? In all seriousness, like, eggs are going to just continue to go up. So put aside policy, put aside, all the kind of vitriol and rhetoric and deflection and distraction that's happening. Let's just go for the core tenets of what a president is supposed to do when elected by the people, especially with a quote unquote mandate like they feel they have. Well, you're supposed to go in there in day one and make the people's lives better. So the things that they were telling you was they didn't like inflation. They didn't like that prices were skyrocketing, grocery store prices, etc. They didn't like that they felt unheard and they felt like their government was not representing them. And so they voted, right? And that's great. That's the democratic process. You vote. And in this case, someone who a lot of us didn't want won. But they, as far as I can tell from where I'm sitting, they won because the people were so fed up and angry that they made their voices heard and they wanted these things. And they were told they were going to get these things. And so far, they're not getting these things at all. They're getting Donald Trump appointing himself as president and chairman of the Kennedy Center, which is going to be a threat to art. They're getting the most unqualified, reckless, deceitful, corrosive cabinet members ever. They are only there to create chaos and to tear the shit down. And again, if you're going with that idea like that my daughter said tonight, that the shit has to be torn down, well, they're doing a damn good job. But in the wake of all that, they're still not doing anything for you. They're not lowering the price of eggs. They're not even talking about it. They're just blaming. They're not addressing inflation. If anything, they're making it worse by imposing tariffs, which again, every economist, even the GOP economists and ones that you all are supposed to be able to respect and tune into, all of them are even saying this is not a good move, that this is going to create instability in the financial markets and international trading and all of that. And it means at the end of the day, more costs for us. So again, how is that helping you? How is it helping you when prescriptions are already being fucked with, prescription costs, and you now have a head of health and human services that is a conspiracy theorist that doesn't really give a fuck about any of this, who just, again, seems to be on a mission of destruction. And what happens in all these instances is as they kind of clean out everything, because they aren't doing it in a very orderly and systematic way, everything's getting fucked up. And then who is paying the price in that instance? We, us, you, all of you that voted for him. You're all paying the price while they tout all the destruction that they're doing, and while they tout all the good that they're doing. And Elon Musk can stand next to Donald Trump in the Oval Office wearing a baseball hat and a t-shirt with his kid picking his nose and sit there and try to pretend like this is all the way it's supposed to go. Come on. Come on. Again, I said this and I meant this. No one wanted this all to work in some way, shape, or form more than all of us. I'm telling you. And I realized that, we have basically two parties in this country, and every time there's an election, people are going to be upset and they're going to feel like, oh, my candidate didn't win. And there's going to be some, some feelings, some negative feelings about that. And there's going to be, problems, right? It happens all the time. Anytime there's another president. But here's the difference. At least if there had been a Democratic president, we would not be experiencing this chaos. And again, let's be honest, even if you voted for him, you got to be feeling this chaos. And it can't be good. Unless your decision or how you're dealing with this is to just not be paying attention. And I've seen that, and I've heard that from everyone. Today, I was doing some appointments, and I heard several times people say, oh, I'm just kind of in this blissful state of ignorance. And that's great. Whatever gets you through. I wish I could be in that blissful state of ignorance. But every day I have to check the news and figure out what threats are coming at me and my community again, even more. I have to find out, what do I have to be cautious of today in terms of what's affecting my livelihood, and not just simple little things like, oops, prices are going up, or, the economy's kind of shit, or, God, gasoline is, no, I'm talking about literally every day waking up, wondering what is going to be done today to try to erase me and try to prove to the world somehow that I don't exist and that the people in my community don't exist and that trans is not a thing and that intersex is not even recognized anymore, that there's only two genders. Fuck science, fuck facts, fuck everything that we've ever known about. Ancient cultures have known and talked about two spirits forever. Let's just fuck that, because one man and his party decides, nope, I'm not going to be good with that. And let's be real honest here, folks. Why are they coming after the trans community so badly? And predominantly the male to female sect of that community. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because white cisgendered males can't handle the fact that they're finding that they are somehow turned on or aroused or fantasizing about specifically male to female trans members of my community. Right? Like, that's what this has to boil down to. It has to. I'm not just spinning a conspiracy theory here. Why are they going after that specific sect of the community so badly in everything that they're announcing? From the sports shit, from the bathroom shit, from eradicating drag performances at the Kennedy Center because, oh God, heaven forbid that there be art where there's drag. Like, and again, they're attacking the whole community. So I'm not just, saying, oh, woe is me. No, they're going after all of us. And along with, as we know, immigrants. And they're going for, people of many different backgrounds and races and ethnicities. And basically, if you're not a white male, you're in the path. Like, no one in our fucking media is talking about this SAVE Act, SAVE Act, which is pretty serious. They're trying to now limit voting rights and the ability to register to vote if your last name and gender and all this other shit doesn't match your birth certificate and your passport. I mean, like, how come the media is not covering this? There's some deep-seated shit going on. And like I said, there's no other way to deduce why they are coming after specifically the male to female, division of the trans and intersex community. It's got to be insecurity. It's got to be there's shame in the fact that they find a lot of us either interesting or attractive, and they don't know what to do with that. And it stirs up something inside of them that really bothers them. And so to get rid of that, they just pretend we don't exist. And they just put a line through it, and they just get rid of the T at the stone wall in Monument. And they just make sure that no one can use the X marker. And they make sure that everything is exactly the way that they want it, because they don't want to deal with us. They don't want to even be enticed or mildly seduced by us, because it'll make them feel a certain way. I mean, and again, if that's not what's happening here, please explain to me what is. Because I've been around men for a long, long time. I know how they think. I've heard them when they think they're talking in private. And by private, I mean like with their pals, right? Where they seemingly can admit just about anything because it's with the bros. I've heard them. I've seen them in comments admit to having fantasies and then being grossed out when they realize, like, what's up. They have this kind of, they have this fantasy or this kind of dream scenario played out where they're with a woman and they're being seduced and the woman is making them feel one way and everything's perfect. This woman is gorgeous. And then they get home or they get up to the hotel room and they discover, oh my God, I've been deceived. And how dare, and what does this make of me? Because now, I'm not gay. And I've seen it. I've read it. And honestly, for the most part, I always kind of turned away from that because, I mean, even when I was trying to pretend to be a male, I never understood men. I've never understood men. I really haven't. But I knew what I was hearing. I know what I'm reading. I know what other people in the community are saying based on their experiences. Like, I'm not naive. I know what happens. I know I kind of sound like a square, and I am, but like, I get it, you know? Someone says and goes through life every day, I'm straight, I'm heterosexual, I know what I like, and that's that. And then suddenly something comes along that shifts that paradigm, and they don't know what to do with it. Suddenly they're feeling something, and it really, scares them. And so what do? They act out. Because no one likes to live in that place of fear. Trust me, as someone who's living there every day, I don't like it. I would do anything to get rid of it. So when you're trapped or when you're feeling insecure, you lash out. And if you're a politician, if you're someone who can make laws, if you're someone who has money, if you're sitting in a room with powerful men, you're going to do what the group wants to do. And this particular group of men wants to just get rid of it. They don't even want it around. They don't want us to live. And everyone else is joining in on this, at least, again, in that community. I'm not hearing any women in the Republican side or the MAGA side of things sticking up for the trans or intersex community at all. I'm hearing them just pile on. And I have to say, as someone who has felt like a woman my entire life and really admired how women stepped up for women and seemed to be in this kind of sisterhood, I'm not seeing that now. I'm not seeing any women stick up for us. At least when I mean that is the Republican GOP MAGA side. I see plenty of liberal and Democratic and independent women and women of all ethnicities and backgrounds sticking up for us. I see that. I'm saying specifically within that community. No one is sticking up. They're not even sticking up for themselves. Like cisgender women are not even sticking up for cisgender women. It's almost like you have an entire group of women that are totally fine with just the men being in power and the men doing everything and the men being macho and the men taking away their rights. And I watched Jon Stewart the other day, and he did this great routine on what time period are we going back to. And it really seems like we are going back to this early, mid 1800s time period where white men fucking just strutted around and they were the shit. And they controlled the money, they controlled the politics, they controlled basically society and what was in and what was happening and what you were going to see and where you could shop. I mean, we're really good with this. Everyone, we're really good with this. Because it's happening. And at the same time, while all of that is happening, you have someone who is pissing all over the Constitution, pissing all over our government, tearing it down, and then laughing about it. Having conference calls with the board of directors at the Kennedy Center saying it was too wokey and that he made the presidency hot, so he's going to make the Kennedy Center hot. Like, that's what you want your president to be focusing on? It is so infuriating to watch and to see all of this and know that we are only like a fucking month into this. Not even like, oh. And the last thing I'll say is this. Democrats, and I'm talking to the Democratic Party, the National Democratic Party, all of you Democratic politicians. A couple of weeks ago, I got a text that said, "Do you think Kamala Harris should run again?" No. I voted for her, and as much as I think she would have been a great president, like, no. If that is your plan, if that is where you guys are thinking, oh my God, like, it is very clear that everyone has said with total certainty that this is broken, that our party is broken, that we need better leadership and we need better candidates and we need better messaging and we need to like really rethink how we're doing things. And instead, we're just going right back to the playbook. And then they're getting on the news and they're just saying, so help me God, if I hear one more Democratic politician use the word unprecedented, this is all unprecedented. And that ship has sailed. Like, we are, from here on out, the rest of the history, at least the, the relative short history and maybe beyond, will be totally unprecedented. I mean, we kept hearing the judicial system was at least going to hold up, that, they were co-equal branches of our government and there was going to be this balance and at least the judicial system's holding up. Well, really? Because they're basically saying, fuck the judge's orders, fuck the laws, or they're saying, great, we'll just do what we do, knowing that then the legal route takes quite a long time. And so we'll just be so chaotic that it'll take you forever to get your suits in order and to find a judge where you can take that suit to. I mean, they're kicking our asses when it comes to just doing what they're doing. And the Democratic Party looks like they have no fucking clue how to react. They look so unorganized that they're just pulling out the same lines, like these hearings. What a joke. I mean, they had to have known that it was not going to do any good. So why did they not use the hearings in a better fashion to protest? And I get it. Believe me, I get it. You want to keep doing the right thing. You want to keep playing by the rules. You somehow want to be able to wake up tomorrow and know that you did everything the way it was supposed to. You can't win in a match like that. You can't. There is no way. No matter how you write that, no matter how you think, it's not going to turn out the way you want it to. When one entire party is pissing all over everything, doesn't respect order, doesn't respect consistency, doesn't respect norms at all in any way, shape, or form, is literally just trampling over everything. And you guys are sitting up, well, it's against the law because he's supposed to give those inspector generals 30 days. He doesn't fucking care. None of them do. So that's your answer is, oh, breaking the law. Oh, not doing this right. Oh, tisk tisk, finger wave. Grow the fuck up. We've got some work to do. And it starts with you all. I played that clip from American President about leadership because that's what we need. I'm trying to be a leader, but I don't have that big of a platform. I'm talking into the night at 2 a.m. because I'm so fed up and I just feel like this is right now the best I can do. So come on. Wake the fuck up, Democratic Party. Do something. Do something. Oh, fuck. And at the same time, we all need to find hope. And we all need to somehow find a way through this. And if anyone has any ideas, I am all ears because I can't keep doing this. This is fucked. We need hope. We need leadership. We need to talk. And we need to make sure that my daughter and that generation does not have to experience a civil war and doesn't have to think about possibly dying and possibly a fight to end all fights. Like, that's not fair to them. That's not fair at all. We all have to do better. Truly. We all must do better. As I continue to look for distractions and build this show and really kind of hone in on what I want this show to be and sound like and look like and what have you, I am going to be rolling out new segments. And I thought a fun segment that I can try is something called PASSÉ-ENTREE.
That's so passe. You, yeah, you. Entree, bye, you're through. Here comes something new.
Now, I wish this was something really original, but it's not. And let's be honest, some of the best things that have worked in entertainment have been borrowed and altered and added on to. And so this is kind of a play on several shows that have done like in, out, good, bad, moving in, moving on. And so PASSÉ-ENTREE. I'm going to share with you what I think is kind of past and what is coming in, what is hot. And this is just from my perspective. I do not claim to be a culture expert. I know I'm not a culture expert, as I've said, or actually I didn't say this, but I just started TikTok literally today, just signed up. So I am not an expert, but I do pay attention, and so I thought it could be fun. So PASSÉ-ENTREE. Let's take a couple of these. Passe complaining about the halftime Super Bowl performance. That is so passe. It was passe 15 seconds before it even happened. But the next day, it was so interesting to see, you know, white culture that doesn't understand the brilliance of Kendrick Lamar, Pulitzer Prize winning, you know, artist, just complaining, I couldn't understand the words or I didn't get it. And then a whole contingency of people that were like, are you fucking kidding me? Of course you didn't get it because you're not paying attention. So I passe complaining about it, and entree everyone that recognizes it's up to the artist. It's our turn. We said this before, and it's now become even more apparent. We need to do something. So, entree, artists, the fighters, the ones who are going to stand up and really change the world, or at least lead the movement. Passe, ripping on Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and their connection during Wicked, and all the kind of just vitriol and just nastiness over their relationship, over their press junket. I'm still seeing comments about it. And it's so ridiculous because especially we're about to start the next press junket for part 2. So it's only going to probably get more schmaltzy and more sincere. And I'm here for all of it because I love it. I love seeing two women that are both incredibly talented, love each other and respect each other and be so genuine and sincere with one another. It's an example of what we need more of, hearkening back to what I was saying earlier about women really sticking up for women and being there for women. I think it's beautiful to see. So fuck that. Entree, women sticking by each other, and just people sticking by each other in general, but yeah, like women especially sticking up for women. I think let's let that entree, let's let that be the norm, because the white cis men are going to make your lives hell, and they already have, so you only have each other, right? Passe, meta, fucking Meta. Horrible, evil, sold their soul, Meta. Entree, flip phones. I keep reading over and over again that people are giving up their smartphones, their iPhones and Androids, and just going to good old-fashioned flip phones. And I'm here for it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to do that myself tomorrow because my smartphone does many, many things for me, not including social media, not including Meta, like, all my health apps and calendars and, I use it for many other things, running a business, etc. But I'm really limiting social media. And I'm finding that I'm only on social media for the simple fact that as an artist, as an entertainer, as a business owner, you got to be on there. And so there's a kind of good, bad situation there. And I fully get it. And I'm exploring all other alternatives. But Passé, Meta, Entree, just getting back to basics again. Getting back to the good old basics and just communicating, keeping things simple. Love it. Think we could do more of it. Finally, Passé, the media. The media writ large. The amount of cameramen and journalists and camera women and reporters in the Oval Office. I've seen so many kind of behind the scenes photos of the Oval Office, the scrums, if you will. I believe that's what they call it. When he's behind his desk, getting ready to proclaim something else as the king. The amount of media that's in there just going nuts and soaking this all up is ridiculous on many levels. But then, like I said earlier, the fact that I have not heard the mainstream media once talk about the SAVE Act, this very huge thing that is happening that will impact women, because they're even saying women with different married names and last names, like this will impact you. And this has already passed in the House. It's called the SAVE Act. Please look into it. It is so important because it's basically clearing voter rolls for women, for trans people, for non-binary people, for immigrants, for maybe kids who don't have the same last name as their parents. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the mainstream media, instead of chasing all these stories and following all the distractions, why aren't you having Democratic politicians on, holding them to account, finding out what they're going to do to fight this, helping us, the people? If you're the media and you're there as a service to the people, to us, to get information to us, the information we need is what we can do to prepare, is what we need to know right now in order to make our lives somehow better or to somehow stay ahead of the curve. I don't need a bunch of talking heads telling me about the gloom and doom or what I need to be optimistic about when it comes to the judicial system. But then you have a guest 5 minutes later contradict everything that guest just said. Like, enough. Keep your eyes on the ball. Do what you're supposed to. Somehow try to remain neutral. And then report the stories that are really important, like voting and how to save this country. And then, because I want that to passe, entree, are these amazing, independent citizen journalists, if you will, like Under the Desk News, shout out, love you, making us realize that we have to be paying attention to the big picture things like the SAVE Act, making us recognize and realize how all of this is affecting everyone in the streets, like at just a basic level, how this is impacting us. I have been getting a lot of important news from independent sources or citizen journalists who are really making sure to kind of get the facts. They also get the fact. They also, I think, can be really well sourced. And they're getting the facts and they're raising the alarm and they're making the mainstream media look like chumps. So, entree, all of you that are going to tell it like it is and give us the facts. Thank you for that. And that is now my new segment, Entree, Passé. And let's close the door on that.
I have no fucks left. No, no.
I recognize that this episode was a lot of me talking, and I'm sorry for that. Well, I mean, I'm not sorry for that. It is my show, and it is my podcast, and you cannot listen to it if you don't want to, and that's fine. I do want you here if you feel I have something even close to being worth sharing or something that you can at least cling to, because again, I am looking for answers and I am fighting this fight just like all of you. And right now I feel like I'm fighting it on many fronts. And so I would love to hear from you. And I'm just going to say this in this closing bit here. I'd also love to hear from my family. I know you say you're there for me and with me, but when it's really going south and things are really shitty, it'd be really nice to know that my family is there, regardless of how you think about me or what you think about me. If you agree with it, I don't just, it'd be great to hear from you and to know that you're with me. I would love that. I really would. So let's hope that that happens. And until then, be sure to look out for yourselves, each other, and always lead with love. No Fucks Left is presented by Transplendent Media. The creator and host is Landyn Shaw. Graphics and logo design by Wally Spence. If you'd like to get in touch with us or the show, please visit us at www.nofucksleftpod.com. That's nofucksleftpod.com. Also, you can find us on Instagram. Thanks.